It's really quite striking, isn't it? How trying to get help for our mental well-being, something so fundamental, often feels like, well, like pushing a boulder uphill.
Hmm.
You've got the stigma, which is still a huge thing. Then the waiting lists can be incredibly long.
Yeah, absolutely. Weeks, sometimes months.
Exactly. And even when you get access, sometimes the help available, it just doesn't feel like it quite clicks for you
That,
personally.
that one-size-fits-all feeling.
Right. It really makes you think, could there be a different way? Could technology maybe step in, not, replace humans, but actually boost our ability to understand and support ourselves and each other?
And that's precisely the heart of this whole discussion around AI-assisted minds and mental health. It's so compelling because based on what we're seeing, it's not about creating like impersonal robot therapists.
Okay.
Instead, the information really points towards AI becoming this powerful partner, something that
Mm.
enhances what individuals can do for themselves and what professionals can offer. It could genuinely lead to some significant positive shifts.
Okay, I like that, framing AI as a partner or an ally. Let's dive into that, especially the personalized support angle. The sources we looked at really hammer home AI's ability to crunch vast amounts of data. How does that actually help understand what's going on with someone individually?
Right. So think about these AI algorithms. They're essentially very sophisticated bits of software that learn from information, right? They identify patterns, make predictions,
Mm-hmm.
and their strength lies in analyzing huge data sets. We're talking about self-reported symptoms, mood tracking over time, maybe even physiological data from, your fitness tracker or smartwatch.
Okay, yeah. Data points we're already generating, often.
Exactly. And the AI can process all this to get a level of tailored understanding that's often, well, really challenging for traditional methods alone.
Right.
What's really sort of groundbreaking isn't just collecting the data, but the AI finding these subtle links, predicting patterns, things a human therapist working within session limits and dealing with memory might easily miss.
Ah, I see.
This opens the door for support that's much more proactive and like hyper personalized in a way we couldn't really imagine before.
So, instead of getting, say, a generic handout on anxiety techniques,
Hmm?
you might get specific exercises suggested based on what the AI has learned triggers your anxiety, or maybe reminders for self-care popping up just when you tend to dip.
Precisely that.
Oh,
Or even, as some sources suggest, spotting really early warning signs of potential difficulties based on tiny changes in your behavior patterns that the AI picks up on.
wow. That's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's almost like having this incredibly observant, well-being assistant available 24/7
that's a good way to put it. And we're already seeing this happen. There are apps being developed that learn your specific anxiety patterns, offering coping strategies right in the moment.
in real time.
In real time.
Hmm.
Or, virtual companions, chatbots essentially,
Uh,
but more sophisticated, providing empathetic responses or guiding you through mindfulness exactly when you feel overwhelmed.
And this isn't just theory, you're saying. This is actually happening now.
The information suggests these are very much current developments. They're being actively worked on, refined, and in some instances are already out there being used. It's not science fiction anymore.
Okay, that leads to another really interesting point from the materials, the idea of empowerment, putting you, the individual, more in charge. How does AI foster that sense of control over your own mental well-being journey?
Well, it does that primarily by giving you insights into your own patterns and progress. Imagine seeing clearly, maybe on a dashboard or app, how certain things, your sleep, your activity levels, even the time of day, influence how you feel.
Okay, seeing the data laid out.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
kind of data-driven self-awareness can be incredibly motivating. It encourages you to be more proactive about your self-care rather than just reacting when things feel bad.
Yeah, I can see that. Makes it less mysterious, maybe.
It can, yeah. And connecting this to the bigger picture, it could be especially valuable for people who maybe feel a bit hesitant about traditional therapy or find the whole process overwhelming. This offers a potentially more accessible, maybe less intimidating, self-directed starting point for addressing their mental health. Gives them tools they can use immediately.
That makes a lot of sense. It lowers the barrier, perhaps.
Potentially, yes.
And the impact isn't just limited to individuals already seeking help, is it? The sources also talked about possibilities for like earlier detection and even prevention on a bigger scale. How does AI fit into that?
Yeah, that raises a really fascinating point about the wider societal benefits. By analyzing large amounts of anonymized population data,
Important distinction, anonymized.
crucial, yes. By looking at that data, AI can potentially spot emerging mental health trends or risk factors within communities that might be invisible using standard methods.
Like spotting patterns across a city or region?
Precisely. This could mean, for instance, public health bodies could develop more targeted interventions or allocate resources like funding for specific types of support much more effectively, putting them where the need seems to be growing.
So it's about being smarter with resources based on real-time trends.
Exactly. It allows for a much more proactive stance. Identifying potential issues earlier across populations holds, significant promise for reducing the overall burden of mental illness on society.
Yeah.
Less reactive, more preventative.
Okay, so we've talked personalization, empowerment, even wider public health benefits. It really does sound like we could be on the cusp of a pretty significant shift thanks to these AI-assisted minds. But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? There must be challenges or concerns.
Oh, absolutely. And it's vital we talk about those. Integrating AI into something as sensitive as mental health support is definitely not without its hurdles. The sources were quite clear on this.
What are the main ones that come up?
Well, data privacy is obviously huge.
Hmm.
We're talking about incredibly personal, sensitive information. How is it stored? Who has access? How secure is it? These are massive questions.
Big ethical considerations there.
Definitely. Then there's algorithmic bias.
Mm.
AI learns from data. And if that data reflects existing societal biases around race, gender, socioeconomic status, the AI could end up perpetuating or even amplifying those biases in the support it offers.
Right, so it could inadvertently disadvantage certain groups.
That's a real risk.
Oh, or
And another concern is the potential for over-reliance on technology. We don't want people replacing human connection entirely with an app or becoming sort of de-skilled in managing their own emotions without tech prompts.
finding that balance between helpful tool and unhealthy crutch.
Exactly. It underscores the need for really responsible development and deployment. We need strong ethical guidelines, transparency about how these tools work, and crucially, human oversight.
So keeping humans in the loop is key.
Absolutely essential. The focus always has to be on user well-being and ensuring these tools genuinely support rather than harm or replace necessary human elements of care.
Okay, so acknowledging those challenges is critical, but despite them, the overall potential still seems immense.
It really does. If navigated carefully, the information suggests AI-assisted minds hold this incredible promise. We're looking at the potential for a mental health support system that's, well, more accessible for more people, more personalized to individual needs, more proactive in its approach, and ultimately perhaps more effective for many.
A powerful combination.
Indeed. But again, the key seems to be combining the power of this technology with genuine human connection, empathy, and professional judgment. It's not an either situation.
Tech augmenting human capabilities, like you said at the start.
Precisely. And it's important to remember, this field is moving incredibly fast. What seems cutting edge today might be standard practice tomorrow. It's evolving constantly.
It really gives you a lot to think about, this whole deep dive. It definitely encourages you, the listener, to consider how technology is weaving itself into, well, even the most personal parts of our lives, offers new ways to get support, new ways to understand ourselves. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As these AI-assisted minds get more sophisticated, what role could they genuinely play in your own approach to well-being? And what completely new possibilities for mental health support might open up in the coming years? Something to mull over.